Gildan Media, a division of Recorded Books, presents Cyber Intelligence-Driven Risk: How to Build, Deploy, and Use Cyber Intelligence for Improved Business Risk Decisions, by Richard O. Moore III, narrated by Walter Dixon. Publisher's Note: in this audio edition, you will hear references to figures present in the print and ebook formats of the book. Limit of liability, disclaimer of warranty. While the publisher and author have used their best efforts in preparing this book, they make no representations or warranties with respect to the accuracy or completeness of the contents of this book, and specifically disclaim any implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. No warranty may be created or extended by sales representatives or written sales materials. The advice and strategies contained herein may not be suitable for your situation. You should consult with a professional where appropriate. Neither the publisher nor author shall be liable for any loss of profit or any other commercial damages, including but not limited to special, incidental, consequential, or other damages. Preface. Knowing is different from doing, and therefore theory must never be used as norms for a standard, but merely as aids to judgment. Karl von Clausewitz. Over the past decade, organizations have continued to acquire technologies and monitoring systems, and have focused technology personnel only on protecting the organization's external perimeters and forgetting simple cyber hygiene. What is missing from many organizations is how cyber intelligence knowledge is leveraged to enhance business risk decision-making processes. This book is a body of work that is consistently evolving to meet new cyber risks, address the lack of cyber-skilled individuals, and provide more efficient processes to enhance the cyber defensive posture of an organization. The CyDR program, CI-DR, we will be discussing here, is about building or enhancing an intelligence capability, that is, cyber, that is traditionally missing during risk management conversations and business strategies. Where business risk management is a common practice, the cyber intelligence component is emergent in how operational risk can discuss the velocity and impact to business risk management and provide a distinctive outcome regarding strategy. We believe that building the connective tissues of cyber intelligence and business risk management by outlining capabilities and functions into a cohesive program creates significant business value. We call that collection the Cyber Intelligence-Driven Risk, CyDR, methodology. CyDR is a proven methodology in building cyber programs, as it not only defines the connectivity between functions and capabilities, but creates a different view of how cyber information is used and improves the business risk processes that plague many organizations. The CyDR program methodology is essential to any sized organization looking to build, enhance, understand, and grow their cyber defensive capabilities and cyber operational risk programs. The CyDR program framework can provide guidance and direction that will mitigate consistent failures to respond and react appropriately to emerging cyber risks. The CyDR methodology is designed to provide business leaders with clear information to make decisions and understand the impact a cyber incident can have on the business. A CyDR program is very different from the traditional application of cyber threat intelligence, which is a subcomponent where technical details are passed from a managed security service provider, MSSP, or a security operations center, SOC, and are used by internal leaders of technology or cybersecurity. A CyDR program enhances the traditional approach of intelligence, cybersecurity, and risk management by using a collaborative fused program consisting of dedicated intelligence analysts from both the business and cybersecurity disciplines who can turn information into a business risk decision. CyDR does not change how traditional business intelligence, BI, operates, but provides a framework for cyber intelligence enhancements that benefits current BI functions and provides the intersection with operational risk management. Having each of these capabilities operating as part of the connective tissue ecosystem enhances business decision structures. Terms such as risk intelligence, network intelligence, and cyber threat intelligence have been around since 2008. However, these concepts have not been consistently implemented to harness and leverage the information required for today's business decisions. Excluding some of the Fortune 100 companies, many have done little to adopt cybersecurity risks or cyber intelligence knowledge into their business risk management objectives. Those companies continue to focus the majority of budgets on purchasing new technology to try and enhance their security posture, but are consistently finding failure in that process. This book references and is built on military intelligence lessons learned and processes that have been proven by best practices used for giving military commanders the ability to understand their area of operations and key strategic objectives. The CyDAR program leverages these key concepts and adopts them for business leaders to enhance their business operational risk objectives. This is the first book of a series designed for visionary cyber professionals striving to develop and improve outdated cyber defense systems and design a future-proof cyber program that contributes to enhanced business risk decision-making. This initial book provides the foundations for the creation of an actionable, that is, build and use CyDAR program that can be applied tomorrow to solve the gap between enterprise risk management, security architecture, and the current management of cyber risks in use today. Additionally, this book leaves out specific vendor technology solutions, as we want to focus the reader on how cyber intelligence functions and capabilities can drive better risk decision structures in today's digital age. By mentioning technology solutions, we mask the foundational cyber concepts needed to drive decisions to keep up with the velocity of business changes. Additionally, this book can be used by cybersecurity professionals, software architects, mergers and acquisitions teams, government think tanks, academics, and students looking to help businesses make better choices about risk by building a proper program focused on delivering risk options to the decision maker. Notes: every industry can benefit by creating or enhancing their business risk management program. Our CyDAR framework provides you, the reader, with the opportunity to build these capabilities, whether internally built, acquired through merger or acquisition, or sourced from the many service providers. This handbook provides the tools and framework needed to ensure that it is effective. By the end of this book, the reader should understand what functional capabilities are needed to build a CyDAR program, the importance of why the connective tissue between the functions and capabilities is so valuable, and how the CyDAR program can be adequately leveraged to assist leaders in making more informed business decisions in the era of increased emergent cyber threats and attacks. Depending on the level of business understanding, the reader will be able to build, buy, or outsource certain functions of the cyber intelligence-driven risk program, understand the functional capabilities needed to have an active program, turn cyber intelligence knowledge into business risk decisions, effectively use cyber intelligence to support enterprise and operational risk management programs, reduce the impact of cyber events through cyber intelligence knowledge for many business operations, and not just through purchasing of new technologies, leverage a cyber intelligence-driven risk program to support mergers and acquisitions, and collect the benefits of predictive cyber intelligence analytics. Understand how the CyDAR program can reduce loss from cyber events from the organization, and provide a proactive cyber defensive posture needed to meet emerging threats. If this book inspires you to create new technologies, build a company to support these capabilities, or reduce risk and costs to your organization, please drop us a note on social media at Cyber6Actual, Cyber S-I-X Actual, or send us an email, cyber6.com, cybersix.com. We would love to hear from you. Introduction. It is even better to act quickly and err than to hesitate until the time of action is past. Karl von Clausewitz. This book is designed for business leaders who are looking to unwrap the cyber black box and understand how cyber intelligence can improve their business decisions. For the cybersecurity professional who is trying to find an entry point to provide value to executives, and for the cybersecurity teams looking to raise their level of sophistication, this book will address the fundamental issues facing businesses and individuals today. First, organizations are still failing to respond to cyber threats due to inconsistent decisions and poor cyber hygiene. Second, both organizations and cybersecurity professionals are struggling with compliance frameworks, international legislation, and local legislative and other privacy requirements while still trying to make revenue through technology advantages. All of the frameworks, compliance, and privacy items are focused on the technology and not on how the organization should be looking at operational risk. By the end of this book, we will explain to the reader why the CyDAR program is the center of gravity for decisions that business leaders should be taking advantage of. Business leaders in every organization are consistently being asked how the organization is dealing with cybersecurity issues, whether it can respond to cyber losses, and what the shareholders need to know should a cybersecurity breach or cyber loss leading to financial consequences occur. Most of the cybersecurity issues that current business models outline are reactive in nature and are usually actioned without much analysis or debate, leaving biased opinions and hasty approaches that ultimately detract from logical decisions. Operational risk losses or consequences are defined in the IEC ISO 31010 documentation, and is where we begin to leverage the language needed to bring the CyDAR knowledge to the risk management professionals. To have a seat at the table as cyber professionals, we need to be able to speak the same taxonomy as our business risk managers. Throughout the book, we provide some real-world examples of how a CyDAR program assisted organizations where these capabilities were implemented and matured to assist in the business decision-making process. As you read the examples, our intent is to have you think about the role you hold at your company or your next role, and the types of information you would want to assist you in making decisions. To be successful, it is key to have the data and knowledge, coupled with curiosity and the desire to be of value that will ultimately lead to being granted access to the internal decision-making for your organization. With every chapter, we provide the business need for a CyDAR program with a real-world example of the cybersecurity issues that many organizations have faced in the past. As you may recall, the year 2012 was very troubling for the financial services, banking, and cybersecurity practitioners. Starting in the month of September and continuing into the new year, a sympathetic nation-state of malicious actors known as QCF, cyberfighters of Izz ad-Din al-Qassam, also known as Qassam cyberfighters, began to methodically stop banks from financially transacting with customers through an attack known as a distributed denial of service, DDoS. This is essentially a technical mechanism that consumes and overwhelms systems and networks, rendering them unavailable or useless for the purposes they were designed for. Many of these banking institutions leveraged their membership in the Financial Services Information Sharing and Analysis Center, FSISAC, to gain an understanding of how the attack started, and to provide a secure forum for discussing best strategies to defend the banks against this adversary, helping to set the foundations for many cyber programs and processes in use today. The ISAC provided the necessary connections among cybersecurity professionals, many of whom came from the military intelligence profession, with a forum and location to share threat intelligence, as well as the ability to discuss new capabilities and mitigation processes to reduce the attacks against their financial institutions, without retribution for competitive interests. The Security and Exchange Commission later issued a statement that cybersecurity and threat intelligence cannot be a competitive advantage. The larger member institutions had begun building cyber intelligence programs and sharing information on attacks through the membership's cyber intelligence leaders. As executives continued to hear through headlines and peers throughout the banking community, their concerns were how much money they would need to spend to protect their organizations, and whether they had the proper staffing and expertise on hand to do that. The action and outcomes of this specific attack played a significant role in the development of the CyDAR program. One of the important processes that was implemented from the sharing of information through the ISAC was the need for cyber intelligence teams to collect, analyze, and produce reporting of attack vectors to the banking management teams for decisions on how to deploy resources. At different phases of the attack, other institutions were doing similar activities, and after months of analysis and the velocity and growth of the attacks, teams using the initial vision of the CyDAR program were able to create a predictive analysis when the attack might occur. Most conversations that were happening in business leadership were not the old, similar technology mitigation discussions. The conversations quickly changed focus to discuss whether this attack would impact capital reserves, what other risks might be encountered during this unprecedented cyber attack, and what amount of financial transactions and revenue losses would online banking systems and internet-facing systems incur. As these conversations grew and expanded, our organization had a plan to have the accountants and business analysts review the systems and provide transactional and revenue estimations for 8, 16, and 24 hours to determine the amount of loss each critical system could incur. Much of this information was derived from work done by the risk management team during their business impact analysis reviews and the crown jewels asset risk assessments conducted by the information security and business technology teams. One of the most difficult assessments that the accountants had to deal with was figuring out potential revenue loss and the number of hours it would take to lose it. This process, that was incorporated after the attack subsided, is the original iteration of what is commonly called today a fusion center. A CyDAR fusion center can exist when bringing business owners, accountants, technologists, risk managers, cyber intelligence analysts, and cybersecurity personnel together to solve an organizational problem. Having generated all the available intelligence through the fusion of stakeholders, combined with our analysis of all the data brought from the fusion teams, a decision model was presented to the board of directors for their agreement that we were doing the right thing. That knowledge package painted key cyber intelligence decision points and pinpointed that the organization would be attacked somewhere around January 7th at 1400, and that the financial loss would be over $1 million for 8 hours of outage time. Additionally, the decision points included mitigation technologies the organization could deploy to remediate the attack, and the cost comparison against the impact of loss. The cost-benefit decision, weighed with risk options, provided 2 courses of recommended actions. The decision points were to either allow our systems to be overwhelmed and let the attackers think they took us offline, or implement this new, unproven anti-DDoS scrubbing technology, which could still potentially lose some real transactions with an additional cost for ineffective technology. With agreement that executive management had the situation well understood, the decision was made to allow the attackers to shut down our online banking platform and allow it to be unavailable during our anticipated 1400 to 1700 outage. To add additional scrutiny and anxiety for the executives, these plans had to be presented to the U.S. Treasury and our financial regulators, which gave the executive team concern that we would be placed under supervisory letters if our decisions were steadfast. The cyber intelligence analysis from months of attack data was also provided to the Treasury and regulators so they could understand that the attackers usually turned off their attacks at 1700 and that our exposure and loss rate was consistent with our risk models. It was the first time the organization's executives and management felt like they were making cybersecurity decisions, and this grew my cyber intelligence program by leaps and bounds. Our intelligence estimates were off by 30 minutes, and we were back online transacting by 17:15 the same day. As the attacks were not subsiding through the spring of that year, the executive team, armed with the information from the collaborative efforts of the fusion team and the cyber intelligence analysis, made the decision to purchase the technology and reduce the financial losses even further. That organization is still using that same approach to mitigating other risks and how they purchase technology today as part of their risk management strategy. By leveraging this proven CyDAR framework, it will enhance your cyber program from a pure technology thought to an operational risk program. Figure I.1 shows how the CyDAR framework is designed and organized to address and provide reporting to directors and executives, to the risk officers and auditors, and of course, to the leadership of the technology and cybersecurity functions within the company. The reporting to the directors and executives mostly covers the areas of what the cyber program is doing to enhance or contribute to how the organization governs and responds to risk. In many organizations, the business objectives drive how the organization handles risk and are key to how the CyDAR framework ties its goals and missions to assisting the business in meeting those objectives. Committees are another area where the CyDAR program provides analysis and input for reporting. As we mentioned, consequences of loss are listed in the International Standards Organization's Risk Management Standard, and that taxonomy can be used to provide a one-to-many or many-to-many from CyDAR capabilities and functions to a risk mitigation process, technology, or exposure. Risk management and compliance professionals are business people, and they need to have technologists speak a common language to help them also protect the organization against risk. The CyDAR also provides for compliance, internal auditors, and technology leadership with the ability to report on the maturity and performance of the functions and capabilities. Maturity reporting within the CyDAR framework gives the various organizations using this framework the confidence to not have to compare themselves to others, to determine their needs based on size and budget and skills available in the area, as well as providing the overall understanding that cybersecurity is an operational risk that can be understood by non-technologists. We are positive that after reading this body of work, the reader could confidently address the committees, the boards, and the executives when they ask about how the organization is governing its cyber risks. We know this framework has been able to address questions from regulators about the processes and the strategy for identifying, containing, and mitigating emergent cyber threats. Finally, if you are a director and an officer of a company implementing a CyDAR, the framework provides the formalization necessary to show that the organization's risk response and process and the directors and officers have done their due care to protect the company. Notes: during a cyber incident is not the time to prepare your actions. Preparations are necessary. Just as you prepare for financial loss, cyber incidents impact both operations and financial losses. Cybersecurity decisions with CyDAR knowledge become sophisticated business decisions. When cybersecurity leaders speak of business risks coupled with cyber intelligence analysis, any leader can make informed decisions. Any cyber attack can be thought of using deprived values and costs, which makes it an operational risk, which is ultimately a business risk. In this case, it was potential market risks, credit risks, and liquidity risks that could be lost due to operational loss. The organization wanted to keep our AA rating, and it didn't want to have customers leave to go to other institutions for banking. And it certainly did not want to take a substantial financial loss from either revenue, fines, or litigation. A CyDAR program can have massive impacts and outcomes, as it is built with the purpose of delivering decisions to business leaders. Throughout this book, you will see the terms information security or cybersecurity used, and in CyDAR there are distinct differences, but for the purposes of this book, these terms will be synonymous. Cyber Intelligence-Driven Risk. Chapter 1. Objectives of a Cyber Intelligence-Driven Risk Program. Knowledge must become capability. Karl von Clausewitz, Prussian General. Any framework, methodology, or process has to have objectives and outcomes. The CyDAR program strives to achieve two objectives. First, the program provides accurate, timely, and relevant knowledge about cyber adversaries and the digital environment in which it operates. Adversaries within the cyber ecosystem are internal or external. An internal cyber adversary could be an employee, contractor, or someone with an objective, and the physical or logical access to information otherwise not known to the public. External cyber adversaries include malicious actors, nation-states, competitors, or even outsourced platforms or processing environments, and those employed or influenced there. To achieve the first objective of the CyDAR program, there are 4 tasks that are required to be performed. First, the program must evaluate the existing cyber conditions, cyber risks, and potential operational losses from cyber events and incidents, while taking into account the many internal or external adversarial capabilities holistically. Second, based on existing cyber conditions and cyber capabilities, the program estimates possible cyber adversarial courses of action and provides insight into possible future actions. Third, the program aids in identifying vulnerabilities that could be exploited by adversaries and the operational impact it can have on the organization. Fourth, the program and the knowledge created assists in the development and evaluation of the organization's courses of action for decisions based on the first 3 tasks. The second objective of the CyDAR program is to protect organizations through cyber counterintelligence activities intending to deny adversaries valuable information about an organization's situation. These 2 objectives demonstrate how the CyDAR cyber risk programs support both the exploitative and protective elements necessary to operate in today's digital economy and infrastructure. The program aims to create timely and meaningful images of the situation confronting the decision maker. CyDAR is the analysis and synthesis of information into knowledge. CyDAR cyber intelligence is knowledge that is distinguished from information or data, in that few pieces of information speak for themselves conclusively, but must be combined and compared with other pieces of information, analyzed, evaluated, and given meaning. Good cyber intelligence does not simply repeat the information that a source may reveal. Rather, it develops this raw material in order to tell us what that information means and identifies the implications for decision-making. The 2 objectives of the CyDAR program are created with simplicity that establishes the boundaries for how the program will operate, and the areas in which it will collect information to provide value back to the organization's decision-makers. Additionally, the objectives provide executives and directors with a high-level understanding about what the program goals are, how they can be leveraged, and how they are connected with business leadership, and ultimately, what analysis can be expected to support business objectives. The 4 tasks associated with the first objective provides the initial measurement of whether the options available are feasible or risky. To be able to describe a complete intelligence picture that provides us everything we need to know about a given situation, we would need that description to include knowledge of established conditions that have existed in the past, unfolding conditions as they exist in the present, and conditions which may exist in the future. Our complete image of what has been, what is, and what might be provides us with 2 classes of intelligence. The first is descriptive cyber intelligence, which describes existing and previously existing conditions. The second class, which attempts to anticipate future possibilities and probabilities, is estimative cyber intelligence. This initial measurement does not have to be exact or futuristic, and doesn't have to be either qualitative or quantitative. What it does have to be is factual, and without bias or opinion, specifically when leadership is expecting intelligence and options on a particular subject. Our CyDAR example for this chapter shows how the frame can support a business decision. Suppose a business leader wants to move an application from the organization's on-premises location to having it hosted at an outsourced provider, that is, software as a service, platform as a service, or infrastructure as a service. The CyDAR program would begin with the analysis and collection of risk information from the current cyber environment as the baseline. A question would be posed to the team by the business leader, such as, is it safer to move existing system from on-premises to an externally hosted provider? Additionally, the CyDAR program would collect and ingest into the CyDAR's cyber intelligence life cycle specific information, cyber risks, vulnerabilities, cyber threats, costs, regulatory issues, and other relevant information to analyze and evaluate the various options where the leader wants to move the application. The result for this example could provide 2 or 3 options for providers and their risk ratings from a cyber intelligence perspective. They would also incorporate those ratings with the financial review of the provider, giving the business decision maker the impact, risks, and profit or loss financial information for their review. The business leader is now able to make better informed decisions about the outcome of their course of action, and to articulate and defend their position to senior leadership.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?